Hello, everyone. Abdul Fattah Muhammad, the author of A Million Stars to Self Empowerment. I want to thank everyone for being tuned in to this podcast of A Million Stars to Self Empowerment. I hope everything is going well for everyone and wish to extend my humble and sincere salutations upon everyone listening in today. Those who are here in the United States, those who are in Europe, those who are in Africa, those who are in Asia, those who are in Australia, and everywhere else in the world. Previously, we went over the history of the book, and we're still going through the structure of the book, A Million Stars to Self Empowerment, which is again available on Amazon. It's available worldwide. And at this time, I'm going to start by reading from the earlier section of introduction. The author of this literature is going through most cases as they are taking place. There is no name recognition of prior publication to prove perfection or high numbers behind these series at all. My reason? We are all the same in some shape or form, and we are all, excuse me, and we are all the way we see ourselves first. The value in each of us and how we deal with it is where we distinguish ourselves from one another. Have we realized our resources, strengths, and talents to a level of full capacity and appreciation? As we have these strengths, we can do whatever we aim to do one way or another and feel good about it no matter what. This is my angle and position of interest. These are my thoughts, ideas, concepts, beliefs, and feelings. They are of some doubt to myself, but what they are not is without value, truth, or merit. Capturing these ideas is in itself a success and great accomplishment, because without that angle, I would not be able to share what has worked for me as you find the best to work for you. Finally, no one is perfect. We have all experienced setbacks without a doubt. We have all witnessed and experienced some form of success in our lives. The information presented in these series aims to focus on how to maximize our positive experiences and make us succeed in the best way that works. The software pertaining to personal empowerment is in the making to help in the modern days. I would love to have my readers' involvement in that product once completed. Uh, what I do want to emphasize pertaining to this page, or I should say these two pages, from the introduction, the third page, fourth page of introduction, is that the author mentions how his literature is actually different from prior literatures which talk on the same topic. That's number one. And number two, why he chose to write on this topic despite not having a big name. So that's the second thing. So that reasoning was brought out. And number three, which is really most important, is finding the strengths and the resources from within each self, within ourselves, and maximizing to its fullest capacity. Because that is an everlasting battle or an everlasting conquest. And also realizing that each and every single person has something special and unique. And I feel it's important to emphasize how, we can't deny having success in our lives and experiencing it uh, in so many instances And this is something which we overlook, and we should not. We should really take notice and be, show gratitude and be thankful about accomplishments that we have made and successes that we have obtained. Yesterday, introduction was mentioned. Introducing a million stars to self-empowerment was mentioned, and it did discuss back then, control and how well we've actually been able to categorize our strengths and be able to elaborate them to what was most needed at the time or for the time being. And this practically is the idea that the book brings up. I was test driving a car today, and a very very unique salesperson. I'm not going to mention any names. Hopefully, he will not spot me on this. Um, but him and I did have a very very important theoretical discussion, and he wanted to know why release or why write this message now, in this time of our lives when there were other information that have been, released so many years ago, and what was the point of, just almost like repeating what has already been said. Or one of my primary critics, I'm not going to say who, someone very very dear and near and close to me, mentions or says to the meaning, I don't want to quote them exact or their exact words, but you're not introducing anything new here. I don't see why anybody, and would go on. However, I want to answer those two questions, or those two statements. The first one, as far as, why is this information coming out, or why am I writing on this information today? Why is this the right time for the information? And he actually acknowledged the fact that the modern day of technology and digital marketing, and how it is was not the same back then. And he acknowledges all that. He says, but still, Aristotle and Plato, their information is so relevant to our society today, and so forth and so on. And why should we add, or why should we come out with anything now, out of all times? Why now? Well, why did they come out with their information back then? They came out with their information back then for their reasons, and they found valid reasons to do so. So, what are we supposed to do? Like, think that it's never the right time to try and, make better ourselves, to improve ourselves, and to self-develop ourselves? Is it ever a bad time to, introduce things which are going to help us stabilize ourselves, and practically spare our loved ones and our family members from destitution, and from and I don't want to sound radical in any means. However, we will look at again, the state of our affairs, and evaluate it. If we keep going in the same direction at the same rate, then where do we expect it to all end? Where do we expect it all to stop? There has to be something to make better what is already good, and there has to be a way of further modifying that, improving it, increasing its capacity, maximizing it all the way around. I want to just get back to realization of our resources and strengths and talents, and exactly what that is about. We all have resources. I mean, we actually started off our lives with having resources, such as our parents, or those taking care of us. Believe it or not, I mean, the way that I find myself standing over my children and looking after them, I am a resource to them, more so than they're a resource to me, for the time that they're just laying there not doing much of anything. But they still are a source of joy and smile. But I am a resource, to them, as my wife is a resource to them too. So we started off with those resources, strengths, and it's easy to correlate and relate to the fact that we grew older, and we became stronger, and then we found talents. Our strengths and our talents really have no bounds. So, if we feel that we can just back away and think that we don't have strengths and we don't have talents, guess what? We're only, fooling ourselves practically, because we actually do have talents. Um, so, what are we putting our strengths and our talents to? That's what the question is. And are we are we maximizing it and using it in the angle which is most effective, which is most related to? This is another question. Uh, Now, you can doubt what it is that you're going to say. You can doubt what it is that you think in your mind. You can say it, it could be right, but then it could be wrong. It could be on the fence of things, or it could be all the way in on the other side of the fence. So it's really up to you to doubt it to certain extent, and to take it to a certain level of doubt. However, that does not mean that it's not entitled to any kind of truth or merit. There's really no truth to it, and that's what I, the writer, am saying here. I'm taking advantage of certain ideas and making sure that these ideas are labeled well, and are able, you're able to, or I'm able to, I should say, because again, this book is a message to myself first, that I am able to, take what it is that has best worked for me, and modify it, improve it, and practically organize it to where whenever I'm in need of it again, of that particular, that particular output of the experience, and I'm able to pick it up and carry it on. No one is perfect. So someone, may decide, and as in the case of my favorite salesperson and my favorite critic, you know, uh, whoever wrote and felt that whatever it is that they're writing is absolutely perfect. I have no idea of any human being who has done that. And on top of everything else, we tend to give credit where credit is not due, instead of giving credit where credit is due a lot of times. A very good example of that is when a person is when a person is reactive, or is reactive instead of being proactive. You know, they practically are just, you know going along or reacting based on what is transpiring, and that in itself is, very, very unflexible. It is counterproductive. um, so to see, and to think that just because of the fact that a person is, not rich, or a person is not in the category of being wealthy, does not make it so to where that person does not have any other merit. Okay, and does not mean that that person does not have intellectual abilities, or does not have any other strengths whatsoever. Therefore, when that person is speaking on certain uh, experiences, or certain knowledge in which they possess, it is not befitting for, anyone to think that uh, this person has to have a certain amount of wealth to prove who it is or what it is that they're talking about. That's that's the case of somebody being reactive. Okay, what you're saying is really rich, but where's the money to show for it? It just doesn't, it doesn't fan out that well. It doesn't go that way. Uh, and also, I think I've mentioned in the previous sessions about software, which actually, came about to, or mentioned, or uh, created the idea of A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment to being written. And I do mention, as an educator, I aim to convey ideas that reflect my thoughts, knowledge, and experiences. These narrations have helped me in some way or another in developing my life. This information has been a great benefit to me and others in the past, present, and will be in the future. Concepts which were being taught at higher level of education throughout society also are cited in relation to our common lives. Yes, uh, you know, a lot of things, again, which are being taught, particularly at the university level, when it comes to uh, business or technology, it should, it's starting to be shared at earlier stages of our educational system. I just hope that it does not, it does not stop getting into our earlier grade system as well as our homes, because that type of knowledge needs to be used on a regular basis. People, we need to learn more about, how money works and how the economy is at a, much earlier. Likewise, when it comes to, and the book is going to discuss this a little bit further when it comes to organizational management. These are, topics, such as the SWOT analysis. I feel like it should be taught much earlier to our or to the common person much earlier on. It should be a common knowledge, and I think this could, well, this has helped obviously those who, learn about it in school and then apply it outside of the school. It's helped them. So why shouldn't it have been, taught outside of the school to begin with? Why should it have been, like held back all the way into second or third year of college, and then, going through 2 years of extracurricular, like a master's degree, before it's being taught? I have no idea. I think that when a person looks at the system in itself, we can find possibly the reason as to why that is, why certain knowledge has been uh, kept away until, later on, down the line, instead of it being taught much early on. This is a very important question. I think, should be addressed at some point in time, or, sooner rather than later. I will continue on in the following sessions, but and dig deeper into A Million Stars of Self-Empowerment. I wanted to thank everyone who helped generate this effort of A Million Stars of Self-Empowerment. Please do visit us at Facebook, A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment, as well as YouTube, A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment. You can also find us at the blog and send a message there, A Million Stars of Empowerment.com. We want to thank Softo Media and the consultant there for the efforts in which they have put forth in this project of A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment. And again, the book is available online at Amazon.com. Thank you very much for listening in. I hope everyone has a wonderful and joyful day. God bless. Please do share this universal message with peace, prosperity, passion, and harmony. Yours truly, Abdul Fattah Muhammad, the author of A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment, commentating on the volume 1 of A Million Stars to Self-Empowerment series.